for the culture, we nobody's slave.
Kanye West is inconsistent.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Standing in that spot, I love this guy right here. Let me give this guy a hug right here.
Life is his, I'm no longer mine.
Nah, I still look at Pornhub and...
This is going to be radical, what I'm about to say. I know this is, we can look at it, the edits. There's times where I was asking people to not have premarital sex while they were working on the album.
I was always letting that Playboy magazine that I found when I was 5 years old have an effect.
I've completely turned around from what my perspective was last year to what
Me wearing a tight dress.
You are my wife, and it affects me when pictures are too sexy.
Jezebel don't even stand a chance.
Most people despise inconsistency. As Dr. Robert Cialdini, an experimental social psychologist, says in his groundbreaking book, Influence, the person whose beliefs, words, and deeds don't match may be seen as indecisive, confused, two-faced, even mentally ill. For Kanye, this has been a common attack.
What I would refer to is dysregulated thought.
What I saw was a minstrel show today.
Well, Donkey of the Day for Wednesday, May 2nd goes to Mr. Kanye West.
Cialdini discovered the persuasive principle of consistency while researching the common practices of all compliance professionals. Whether it's a car salesman, toy company, prison camp guard, or any other field where your compliance is to someone else's benefit, consistency is one of the 6 cross-compliance techniques used to gain your cooperation. Is consistency a bad thing? It depends on the situation. Consistency is favored because it's a trait ingrained into our psychology. It offers a shortcut through the complexities of modern life. This shortcut is not always beneficial. As Cialdini points out, it's this automatic click-whir response, which is helpful most of the time, that can lead to our unconscious manipulation. Often it's just a way to relieve us from the stress of thinking. Other times consistency is favored because it allows us to avoid harsh realities. While doing research, Cialdini attended a pitch for a transcendental meditation program, and noticed that despite the illogical claims of the sellers, people still signed up in a frenzy. When Cialdini asked these people why they were signing up, many had problems they thought the program could help with. Learning how to become a good actor, fixing insomnia, being able to study more. The program promised it could solve all these issues. Wondering why, after hearing the flaws in the program, people would disregard that and still sign up in droves, Cialdini thinks he found the answer in one person's testimony. When your buddies started talking, I knew I'd better give them my money now, or I'd go home and start thinking about what he said and never sign up. By paying for something they thought would help, they no longer had to think about their problems. They had a solution, even if it was a false one. Real people with real problems use consistency to avoid harsh realities. Not to say that when Kanye says these uncomfortable, inconsistent things, he is right. But are we sure he's wrong? Do we have the facts or reason or logic to prove that what he says is untrue? Or is what he's saying so inconsistent with what our culture tells us that the automatic response is to not hear it?
Well, it was really just my subconscious. It was a feeling I had, like people were taught how to think, we're taught how to feel. We don't know how to think for ourselves. We don't know how to feel for ourselves. People say feel free, but they don't really want us to feel free. And I felt a freedom in, first of all, just doing something that everybody tells you not to do.
Social psychologists have discovered that consistency is triggered by commitment. By studying the Chinese prison camps during the Korean War, it was found that commitment and consistency were far more effective than the North Koreans' practice of torture. The Chinese took small commitments and used the principle of consistency to build into larger requests for compliance. First, the POWs would be told to write a mild anti-American statement. Then they would be asked to make a list of the problems with America and sign it. Then they'd be asked to write an essay about it. These essays would be broadcast on the speakers of all the camps around North Korea with the prisoner's name attached. Before they knew it, the prisoners were internally reframing themselves as communist collaborators. This turned a mildly disagreeable statement into an internal personality change. one the prisoners did not want. Once the Chinese effectively had the prisoner reframe himself, it was much easier to gain confessions, self-criticism, and other information during an interrogation. It's the public commitments that start small and then, using consistency, build bigger and bigger personality changes. For some reason, this doesn't seem to affect Kanye in the same way. He's not bound to his previous public statements. He seems to be able to change on a dime. Kanye's ability to be inconsistent has led to constructive personality change. He went from rapping about sleeping with family members,
You got a sister-in-law, you a smash, I got 4 of them.
to avoiding pornography.
My gateway into full-on pornography addiction. My dad had a Playboy left out at age 5. And it's affected almost every choice I made for the rest of my life from age 5 to now having to kick the habit.
He went from a college dropout music producer to a Grammy Award-winning rapper to a top clothing designer to producing a biblical opera. He went from preaching common destructive rap tropes to starting a church. And when you have someone as influential as Kanye getting involved in a long-standing institution such as the church, which has its own history of problems and is now facing a lack of interest.
You know what I really hate about church? Those boring sermons.
I couldn't agree more.
Maybe his inconsistency has the ability to change it.
And I don't know that this is going to happen. But keep in mind that Kanye is not normal. So if you take, religion that's existed forever, and you take a normal person and they become a religious convert, the person gets folded into the religion, and then the religion stays the same, but the person changed. Kanye is not like that ordinary person who changed and became more like the religion. Kanye is as big as the religion. Kanye's ability to change the way people think about stuff is sort of unparalleled. He's got that world-class quality. So here's what I'm predicting. If you take a Kanye and you put him into a traditional religion, he changes the religion. That's the story. The story is not that religion changed Kanye, because that's what it looks like in the beginning, right? But Kanye is not going to leave religion the way it was. At the very least, he's going to elevate it to an art form.
For those of you who are inspired by Kanye's move into religion, a word of caution. A character as inconsistent as him is liable to continue being inconsistent.
And I would say be careful in the sense that Kanye West is a trickster. Kanye West is a fool character, and he can bring about, he can manifest this shift, but he is a shifty character. Don't put your trust on him, because he can go either way at any point. He can completely change and go in another direction, and that wouldn't be surprising either.
Woke up today feeling golly, glad to be part of God's body. Lord, you're welcome in mi casa.
As American philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson says, a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen and philosophers and divines.
Every single moment we lift them up.
Kanye gives us a public example of how to break away from this hobgoblin of the mind. By simply telling the truth or expressing how you feel, and trying to be your authentic self, you are forced to be inconsistent. By not complying to social pressures, you can change who you are. And if you're honest enough, that change could be for the better.
It gets better, 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 better. Give your life to Christ, He'll give you paradise. Oh, we knew life would be alright, but who could have known it'd be this good? Oh, He'll give you